What's up, guys? I'm Dr. Donald, and this is Dr. Ben. Today we're going to talk about all things squat. We're really going to show you guys some of our tricks that are really useful for some common things that we see people having issues with the squat. So, do you want to add anything before we get started? Do you want to tee it up? What do you want to do?
Yes, I think
how do you want to do this?
One of the main topics that we're going to go through is creating tension, either creating tension in your upper body or creating tension in your lower body. And by just creating tension, a lot of times you will see hip discomfort, low back pain, and anything else that's causing problems within your squat start to alleviate as your whole body gets tensed.
Yeah. So do you want to start with, I guess we could start with seeing kind of where you're at in the squat, right? So oftentimes we have some people with low back pain. Maybe they're going to classes like, name all of them nowadays, F45, Eat the Frog, Orange Theory, that type of those, or CrossFits, shoot, forgot about those. And they're doing a lot of reps. Right? And with a lot of reps comes risk, so biomechanics becomes a lot more important. So oftentimes what we see is weird body positions, especially in the spine with the squat, and maybe people getting into some range of motions that they haven't yet owned, right? So the first thing I want to do is I kind of want to show how you can assess where you're at with the squat to make sure that your back is in good position. So let's do this. All you'll need is a dowel or a broomstick or any type of stick that is straight. So I'm going to walk you through this, Dr. Ben, so they can kind of see and I can kind of walk around you. So use the mat as reference. And let's face that way, towards the volleyball courts, yeah. So go ahead and put the dowel on your back. So you're going to start by putting the dowel on your back, and you got to have 3 positions: head, mid back, and about butt crack. Okay. So now get comfortable. Comfortable with. I don't care. There's really no standard. It's really just what's comfortable for you. So some people it's wider, some people it's narrow. Some people the feet are straight ahead, some people it's out. Just go what's comfortable for you. So whatever's comfortable for you, and let's go ahead and squat down. So the goal here is to see how far you can go by keeping all 3 points, right? So let's come back up. Let's show one where before parallel, somebody rounds the back. Boom. So you see how that left one of the points, right? And this is a little bit of a dramatic example, but it gives you a really good visual that thing comes off. Right? So whenever if it comes off of any of these 3 points, you know that you've rounded your back, right? Good. So that can become a problem, especially if you're doing a bunch of reps. Like, I don't know, how many reps do you think are in a class typically? Like, if you're doing a squat, it's at least 50, right? So
maybe 30 to 50.
Right. Yeah. So that can kind of add up over time. So something simple like that, just finding where you're at and then stopping at the point where you round. Don't go any lower than that. Can often clear up a lot of the issues that you have with your low back, even hip. Shoot, if you're feeling some hip and you can kind of feel where you're rounding, or it can really help out. Anything you want to add to that, or you want to?
I think that's good.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, let's show them what you want to show them next. We got some good tension stuff. What do you like to do for tension?
Yeah, so like a lot of times when I'll work with a class or group of people,
you're whispering
and see.
Speak louder.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Okay. So a lot of times when I work with a class or a lot of people, I'll have like 20 or 30 people in front of me, and I'm trying to assess like the squat, and I'll have a dowel. So I'll try to standardize the process and where I'm putting them, so I could see where something might happen or if there's a fault. And a lot of times people that have like pain also have something that pops up ineffective with the way that they're moving. Like he said, you could be going to a depth that's encouraged for the class to try to get as low as possible, but your body might not be to where that makes sense. And it could be because of something going on in your hip or your knee or your ankle, in any one of those checkpoints. So another thing that I see often is what is going on with your legs when you're going down. And a lot of times you'll see like this kind of looks like a newborn baby deer, where like the knees start coming in. And if that happens, what we can do for that. So that would look like this. You see the person coming down. You could have a dowel or no dowel, and you just see something like this in the motion. They start collapsing inward, and what's going on with that. So this is where the tension aspect really, really helps. When we're doing squats, it's not just for the front of your legs. You should be feeling the back of your legs and your entire leg working while you're doing this motion. And usually when we see like the knees moving around too much, it has to do with poor hip control. And the way we want to get that hip fired up is with tension. So why don't you share with them like how you like to start off the squat?
Yeah, so I like to think like I got like sticky gecko feet, or if you're by a beach and you know the feeling, digging your feet into that sand, getting as deep as you possibly can, really rooting yourself into the ground, sticking your feet into the ground. And then once you have that, imagine there's a seam right in between your 2 feet, and you're trying to rip that seam apart. And that should turn on the muscles in your leg. You should feel your legs working. If I pull as hard as I can, I'm actually shaking, and I probably cramp if I hold for too long. Right? So really create that tension, and then comfortable position. And then from there, you kind of just pull yourself into the squat.
Yeah, a couple tricks or hacks that we do is to try to create a little bit of feedback on somebody. So when you see this happening, this is where those mini bands, those small bands that you could wrap around your legs are good, because they can apply some tension that are directly pulling your legs inward, and you have to press against them to keep it out. And a lot of times, as soon as you get that pulling out sensation or ripping that floor apart, you'll feel like your glutes kick in and the motion feels better.
Yeah.
And simply by creating tension in your legs, we usually create tension in your abs. And again, if we go back to the back pain and you have that rounding mechanism, sometimes it's just a loss of core that's making you round.
Yeah.
Well,
Perfect. And then another way that we like to create tension is with the upper body. And one way you can do that is using the dowel. If it's a back squat, if it's a bar, if you're doing something like that, is pulling the dowel or bar into yourself. So I'm like trying to bend it and into me and pull it into me, right? So what that does, it activates the lats, right? And the lats actually have connection down into the back. Right?
yeah, so why don't you turn to the back right here? So what he's talking about is, what he's doing is he's actually pulling this bar down into his body. By pulling downward, he's creating tension through these big muscles in through here. And now he's got a lot of tension in this part, and it's going to be really hard for him to have any kind of faults when his body has tension through that area. Like, just try to stand, pulling your elbows to your back, lock this in, squat down, and now feel is it difficult for you to even round while you're doing that.
Yeah, that definitely helps the rounding for sure.
Mhm.
And another way that we like to do it is using a kettlebell. And with that, it's using the handles of the kettlebell. So, do you want to describe this, or you want me to?
Sure. So why don't we show them how to do a squat with that? So really common, you're going to do, this is like a goblet squat or a front-loaded squat, and he's going down. And people do this a lot. One of the faults we see is like this thing gets way away from you, right? So it's out in front. That's promoting you to be pulled forward. He's keeping it close to his body, and he's trying to make 2 kettlebells out of that 1 kettlebell by pulling it apart. As he pulls it apart, we're getting great tension through his upper back. And he's coming down. Go ahead and let's show him from the side. As he's pulling it apart, you'll see he's really rigid through this area. And that's what we're looking for when we're doing a loaded exercise. You do want rigidity through your core, not fluid motion.
Yeah. I mean,
so let's recap the hacks, the main thing. So you got pain with your squat, whether it's knee pain, hip pain, low back pain, which is really, really common. Tension. Right? Tension to the legs,
tension's a big
to the
one.
upper body.
Finding where you are in the squat's another one, not going too far deep into the squat if you haven't yet owned it.
Yeah, that would be like in the future, maybe looking at a hip mobility series for that and trying to figure out, is there specific areas that are stopping that? And range of motion is huge. Range of motion is something that gets pushed at people a lot. Like you want to go as deep as possible. However, when you're first learning something brand new, any skill, you probably don't want to do as blank as possible with it right out the gate. You want to start learning it in smaller dosages, getting a handle on it, and then progressing it over time.
Yeah, and he had mentioned a lot of those big things that we see, back, hip, knee, and often tension really has a big positive effect on all three of these. So if it has been helpful for you guys, one, let us know, and let us know if you have any other questions, right? So send us a message, shoot us either direct message if this is being being seen through Instagram. If it's being seen through YouTube, shoot us an email, info@kirehab.com. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to help you guys out. We have plenty of hacks for this, and
this
is like the surface level.
One thing I do want to say that I always find interesting when we teach somebody about how to put more tension in their body, and they're doing this exercise, and it could be any exercise where we're trying to use tension as a mechanism to create more rigidity in their body. They look at us and they go, "This is really hard," and I'm like, "Does this feel like exercise? Is what you're doing exerting? Does this feel hard? And if so, that's okay, because the whole purpose of this is to exercise. We're trying to use more energy, right? So think of it from this standpoint: is the more energy you can use, the more tension that you can create, the more exercise you're doing, the more in line with what goal you have. And sometimes at first you're going to need to strip back some of the weight that you're doing over and over again with a technique that's not optimal to put something in there and learn how to control your body better. Once you do that, your strength increases will surpass any level you've plateaued at.
Yeah, that's great.
And we'll wrap this up. Like he said before, all those ways are awesome to get a hold of us, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.
Yeah, reach out. Don't be shy. Just start the conversation. We'd love to hear from you guys, and we really want to help, so help us help you. All right, guys. Take care.